Hi everyone, today we're going to talk about the 5 reasons why parents should want to teach EQ to their kids. And let's just say that it definitely makes parenting a lot easier.
Yeah, definitely.
And kids also like it when their parents have high EQ because happy, successful families have high EQs, the parents and their kids. And today we're going to talk about why it's important for kids. So the first pillar of EQ is self-awareness. So this is when your kids are self-aware, and it means that they know exactly how they're feeling. Mm-hmm. And so some of the emotions that you want them to be able to verbalize are if they're feeling excited. And so we play a game with these cards called Heads Up. If they're worried, if they're embarrassed, or they're just frustrated. And so we learn to be emotion scientists. And that's when they are able to really understand if they're feeling cranky. For example, maybe on Monday mornings, they're more cranky and agitated. They start to understand that this may be because they went to bed later on the weekend. Does this happen to you?
Yeah, I went to bed at 12 one.
Yeah. And then
1.
Mondays get really, really difficult. So they're really able to pinpoint that. And that is so important for when they're in a bad mood or when they're acting up, because a lot of times what happens is you can become hangry. So this is where you're hungry and angry at the same time. And that leads them to just being really upset. And if they're able to understand, wait a second, I'm just hungry, they can go get a snack, which is what you do now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so with this new insight, your kids are not going to have as many meltdowns, tantrums, or blow-ups, because anger is a secondary emotion oftentimes, and it only occurs when the kid is not able to identify their primary emotion. So during coronavirus time, this could be that they're bored and they're showing a lot of emotion because of that. They're lonely. So this is key. Now let's move on to the second pillar of EQ, which is self-regulation. So regulating yourselves, not letting emotions get the best of you. So your kids need to know what to do when they're not in a good mood. And so they need to have coping tools. And that's what a lot of the students do in social ed, is that they learn what are the strategies that work for them. And one is stop. So S is to stop or to pause. And notice that you're having an amygdala hijack. So the first step is stop, and then the T means that you're going to take a deep breath. So you blow in through your nose, and then you blow out through your mouth for a longer period of time. Now the O is to observe your mind bubble. So we blow bubbles, and you notice that they're popping. All those thoughts and feelings are popping. And sometimes they start to realize that one bubble may be really, really big, and it can take over your mind. And they learn not to react to that big bubble, and they learn to watch it. They learn to then proceed. After they've watched their bubbles pop, they're able to proceed and figure out what to do next, because their prefrontal cortex, which is right up here, has kicked in because you've given it some time, and it's able to make those smarter decisions. Other things we do in our class is we make mind jars. So we watch as this glitter represents what's going on in our mind. We deep breathe until it settles. We play with slime. And then we're able to change the channel and then reset ourselves through powerful visualizations as well, like imagining your happy place. The third pillar is self-motivation. And your kids are going to be self-motivated to pursue what they are really interested in and what they're passionate about by thinking through their interests, their skills, and their goals. And so what kids are going to learn is that they will have the power to achieve what they want in their lives with higher EQ, because higher EQ teaches children how to stay intrinsically motivated. And so the difference here is with intrinsic and extrinsic is that intrinsic allows for them to really tune into who they are and what they like. And this is different again from that extrinsic motivation, which has to do with having parents really give them like incentives or money or bribing them to achieve goals that they may have no interest in really doing. And so with self-motivation, which is our third pillar, what you're going to see is that you won't have to keep nagging them to find an interest because they're going to be able to find that on their own. In our class, we make vision boards like this one here that really helps them fine tune like what are their goals and what do they want to achieve in their likes? What are their likes? What are their dislikes? And so, again, it's so important because children with intrinsic motivation really love what they do. And that gets them to work really hard. It helps them stay motivated. They're more productive. And they're going to be more successful in life. Now, the fourth pillar is going to be empathy. And now your kids will learn how to care about others and especially learn how to care about you. So if you're in a bad mood because you pulled an all-nighter for work, they're going to be able to understand that. They're going to notice it and they're going to ask you if you need help during the day, because I know this one does that. When they see me with a bazillion groceries in my hand, your child is going to notice that you're overwhelmed with the groceries and they'll come and help you out with them. They'll also sit with you when you lose a close friend, and they're going to understand that you're going through something because kids with high EQ can also identify emotions in other people. And it's so important for them to see what their parents are going through and be able to connect with them. And this is different than sympathy. So sympathy is this idea of just acknowledging that someone's going through something, and they may say something like, if they're showing sympathy, they may be like, oh, I'm so sorry, that's so awful. And then they might start thinking about something else. Or they may walk away and go do something else that they really want to be doing. But it's not showing empathy. So empathy is this ability to go beyond just acknowledging. And empathy has to do with really connecting with that emotion. So if the parent is sad, well, they've, felt that emotion before. And so they're able to then know exactly what they would have wanted someone else to do when they were sad. So maybe they'll sit with the parent and they'll just be there with them. And that's really, really important because that really allows for that connection to happen versus just acknowledging it and moving on. The fifth pillar is social skills. And so as a parent, I know how important this one really is because we all want our children to have skills to make friends and to know that they're going to be fine without us. And that's really important for me to know that this one will know what to do in social relationships because I'm not always going to be there with her. And so what this does is that first, the research shows that the happiest people in life have the most meaningful relationships with others. So that's one reason why social relationships are so important. We want our kids to be happy. We want them to have meaningful relationships. But with social skills, your kids will be able to make and keep true, authentic friendships in their life. They will gain insight into who they are, and they won't give in to peer pressure as easily because they're going to be confident in who they are. So they'll also learn to deal with conflict without being too bossy or being too pushy or being a pushover and just doing whatever someone else says. So they'll learn how to be assertive, and they'll learn how to address their needs in a more direct way. So what that means is that they're going to be able to understand what's causing them that conflict. They're going to learn how to address it by stating their feelings. They're also going to be able to understand how to state their needs and then make requests based on their needs. Especially important if a child has siblings. So I know sibling rivalry can be really intense. And so that's what was happening in our household during coronavirus time, is that my children were sort of complaining about each other nonstop, but no one was actually transitioning to addressing a need. So what did they need from each other? So what we ended up doing was brainstorming on a whiteboard like this, and the whiteboard just really looked at what were the needs for a little sister and what did the little sister need from the big brother. So this was really just addressing some of those needs that were taking place for them. And then they were able to make requests from each other. So they were able to request like, okay, I need this, can you do this for me? Or I need that, can you do that for me? And then the conflicts were able to be reduced because, again, before it was just a lot of venting and no one was really addressing what their needs were. So I just want you guys to all remember that happy, successful families have high EQ, and this is something that will just make parenting a lot easier if your child is able to develop EQ in their lives and start practicing some of these skills. And you can find out more about strategies and coping tools and skills for your child at mysocialedge.com. All right, you guys, I will see you later.